Jose, I wanted to take a look at the journal entries and go over in this video some of the things I think you need to change in your workbook. Sometimes using a video to describe some of the things that I've noted that you may need to change is probably easier for a student. Let me know if this helps you at all. But so far I'm looking at your journal entries and I'm going through to see which ones that require some kind of correction. And so far, I haven't seen much going on except a couple things, and I wanted to bring it to your attention. The first thing we want to note here is this entry. You purchased something for cash. I don't see cash at all. And second, what you need to understand is when you're buying something and you're buying something tangible, it's an asset to you. Until you use it, it remains an asset. An expense tells me that you've used it, but it's impossible to use something when you just bought it. So you need to change that. One, you don't show cash at all being used, and secondly, you're reducing your asset that you've never recorded. So this entry needs to be corrected. This entry here looks good, and this entry here does not. Let me tell you what happened with this one. This entry is you showing the receipt of an invoice. Now, although you're going to pay it later, which is on a payable, which is good, you haven't actually paid it yet. And why would you debit cash? So you need to change the debit here. I'm going to remove this highlight here because that account looks good. It's just the cash looks wrong. Secondly, in this particular transaction, you purchased in advance 1 year's worth of insurance. It has not been used at all. That means it's paid in advance. And so prepaid should never go down when you're actually buying it. And plus, I don't see cash here. So you paid for something in advance. Paid means cash went out the door. So we need to see prepaid and cash in this case. Now let's go look at August. August looks like the entry that you made in the previous month for your accruing of wages. This transaction is the payment of the wages, not the accruing of the wages. Therefore, you need to show a reduction in your payable and a reduction in cash. So if I go down here, same thing here. You've already recorded your expense for August for telephone. This time you need to remove the payable from your books. And the same thing here. When you're buying supplies, office supplies, baking supplies, the moment you purchase it, it's an asset. It does not become an expense until it is used. So in this case, those are the ones that I've noted that look a little bit unusual. This entry here, on the other hand, is incorrect. Let me tell you why. On the 20th of August, you're paying this. You accrued it in August 15th, and then you paid on the 20th. Well, what you got to do is you got to remove the obligation, which you seem to have done. But why would we credit an expense? We don't want to credit an expense here. We want to credit cash because we've actually paid our employees. And the same thing here. You're not going to record an expense until the asset is used. So in this case, what you want to do is record the asset and not an expense. This transaction here is incorrect simply because you're debiting cash, and I don't know why. This is a telephone bill that you receive for services, but you don't want to debit cash because you don't want to increase cash. It's not appropriate. So I need to change that. And I'm thinking the same kind of errors I've seen will be reflected as well as in September. So I'm going to just highlight them. So once you fix one error, you just go over to the next tab and fix it in the same way. This one here, again, in reverse. Payable should be credited, and office supplies, baking supplies should be debited, not the expense. Remember, when you purchase an asset, it's an asset until it is used. This amount here, I don't know where this dollar amount comes from, but it looks way, way off. So check that out. Maybe you're recording something else, but that doesn't seem right at all. I would suggest removing it completely. This entry looks good. This entry looks good. The payable and expense, again, here you're paying the wages. So you need to remove the payable and reduce cash. So that's one thing you need to do here. Look at the other entries. They look okay from what I can tell. Yes. So again, the entries that you need to fix seem to be a lot, but it's only because you're making a mistake more than one time. Once you fix these errors, you should be fine. But remember, when you're purchasing an asset, you do not expense it because you not have the chance to use it. It's only when the asset is used that you expense it. When we're recording receipt of a bill, we have to recognize an obligation to pay it at some point. And that's what you need to do here, but you need to show that you have incurred the expense. So I'm hoping that this video is helpful in helping you determine how to fix these highlighted areas. I will also send the file to you so that you can, see them for yourself. Please reach out for questions if you may have them, and good luck.